the rule of law, the division of responsibilities between the Congress and the President, that recognizes that overseas our standing in the world is diminished, and that we're going to change. And we're going to come back to being the America of old. So what does that mean? If I'm elected president, I will commit to you that I will obey the Constitution of the United States. That I will not go to war unless I get the consent of the Congress. That we're going to treat women in this new administration not as a special interest, but as a majority. And what does that mean? That means that we're going to strive for pay equity and a ratification of the Equal Rights Act. That means that we're also going to say that we respect a woman's right to choose. However, we're going to do everything we can to stop unwanted pregnancy. That we're going to do everything we can to promote adoption and sex education. And we're going to promote policies in this country that if we have abortions, that they're safe, that they're rare, and that they're legal. But at the same time, we're going to be an America that says this: my vice president will be a member of the executive branch. He said he didn't want to turn over documents, so he was not a member of the executive branch. I said, well, what was he, a farmer? Was he a hunter? Get it, hunter? You know, internationally, here's what else we'll do. On the first day, I will shut down Guantanamo. I will also say that from now on, we're going to restore habeas corpus. You know, you kind of push it aside. That we're going to be a country that will not eavesdrop on its own citizens. That we're going to be a country that will recognize the division of responsibilities between the Congress and the executive branch. And I won't be a president who will have signing statements that basically say, this is law, but I'm not going to implement it because I don't think it's right. That is wrong what he has done. That I'll also be a president that will say we will not use torture in our foreign policy. That I will be a president also that will say we're going to observe the Geneva Conventions, that we're going to join the Kyoto Treaty and make it even stronger, that we're going to join the International Criminal Court, that we're going to be an America that will say to the rest of the world, we care about poverty and AIDS and refugees, and that we care about genocide in Africa. We're not just going to care about those nations that are strategically important to us. That we're going to be part of an international community, that we're going to bring diplomacy back, talking to those that we disagree with. I will talk to Iran. I will talk to Syria. I've talked to North Korea, and it worked. And finally, the administration talked to them directly, and we've got some results. So that would be the cornerstone of our foreign policy. I've gone on long enough. What I'd like to do is take questions. In the interest of fairness, we'll go girl, boy, girl, boy. You know, women are the majority. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you could just give us your name if you ask the question. You don't have to, just so I can refer to you. And then we'll have a nice discussion. So who's going to be first? We'll go to, yes.
I'm Linda Canworthy. I would just like to know that when you're president, that your policy is truth in government. And it'd take a lot of courage to do that, because it'd be a really big change in every department. And so if that happened, it would trickle down, just like deceit and fraud has, all the way through the government, to the state government, to where you can have truth. And people could, if you spoke, people would know that you're telling the truth. Right now, nobody's credible.
Well, I would make that commitment that we will have an administration that respects the rule of law. That you know, I'll tell my Attorney General, if you decide to think of yourself as a lawyer for the president, you're fired. You're a lawyer for the American people. I will also say to you, you know, a lot of it is tone, is the people that you bring in. The people you bring in. Now, what does that mean? That means that I'll tell you, if I am the nominee, I'll tell you who my cabinet is before the election. so that you know the kind of people that all surround us. I already offered Joe Biden Secretary of State, he turned me down. So we will have a cabinet that will be, and I will tell you who the cabinet is before the election. I'll have independents in my cabinet. I'll have Republicans in my cabinet. I won't overdo it there. We will. I did this in my state. You know, we have 3 works to get the best people. I've already made a commitment in the cabinet that I'll have a teacher as Secretary of Education. I'll have a union member as Secretary of Labor. And so it's the tone, it's the people you bring in. It's not just systems and matrices. It's who are the people that are going to come in. And I will say to them that our main responsibility is going to be the American people. I will also ask you, everybody here, I want you to think of yourself as a citizen lobbyist. Because all of what we're going to try to get done, and look, I'm for public financing, I'm for restricting special interests, although my record is not perfect there. I just believe we do need that to happen. And it's going to take everybody being part of a citizen core of lobbyists that participate in your government's decisions like never before, or we won't win. So.
Now we discussed our policy on illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration? Okay. All right. I think we need to do 4 things. And I'm a border governor. You know, I'm one of the 4 border governors. And 2 years ago, I declared a border emergency because the flow of people and drugs in my small border was out of control, and the federal government wasn't doing it. So, I earned the wrath of a lot of people, Hispanic groups, that said, how could you do that? And I said, well, my constituents are complaining about thefts of cattle, and drugs coming in. So we've got a chaotic situation, and the President and the Congress have basically punted and said, this is too tough to deal with. Lou Dobbs and all these other people, oh, this is terrible. So they're not acting. So this solution is going to be left to the next president. So this is what I would do. I would do 4 things. 1, secure the border. What is that? More border patrol. That means more detection equipment. As I said, a little nuclear material of this size that might cross a border by a terrorist. That's my ultimate nightmare. Number 3, the National Guard. They're there on the border. They've done a good job. I'd leave them a little longer. But I think in the interest of full disclosure, am I for this wall? No, it's not going to work. I'll tell you why it won't work. You're going to build a wall that is 10 foot tall. That's what it is. You know what's going to happen? 11-foot ladders. When people are desperate, it's not going to work. Plus, it's not a symbol of America. I got to tell you, when I came into office in 1982 as a congressman, Ronald Reagan was president. And I want to make an admission. I hardly ever voted with him, but I liked the old guy. I did. And I remember when he went to Berlin, and he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. I liked it. Walls haven't worked. The Great Wall of China, it's a tourist attraction. The Berlin Wall, it doesn't work. So it's not a good symbol, plus I believe you need trained people to do it. The second step I would take on immigration is enforce the law, which we don't do. Those that knowingly hire illegal workers should be punished. It's simple. We don't do it. It's a joke. Number 3, the relationship with Mexico, foreign policy. What does that mean? That means talking frankly to your friends. Now, Mayor, come over here. I want to do something. I'm going to illustrate a point. Don't worry, you won't have to do it. I just made the mayor the president of Mexico. Okay? And, see. Why is it? Now, what I'm trying to illustrate is, when these summit meetings happen, presidents get together and they finish the summit meetings, and the flags are back, and the 2 presidents come out and they say, we just had a very productive meeting. And both presidents say, let me tell you something, somebody that's been in those meetings of diplomacy, when somebody says we've had a productive meeting, it means the meeting didn't go well. But I would be frank with the president of Mexico, who's a friend. I would say, you know, Mr. President, start providing some jobs